So anyway, Twitter should be open, yes or no?
Yes,
And
I think so.
and aren't you afraid that
I
it
agree
might
with
become a
Elon. Free speech
cesspool?
is free speech. I think any sort of like opposite idea to that is just it's kind of like it's a little shady.
I feel like
I don't think free speech should be regulated. I think we have really good legislation already in place to differentiate what can be said or what can be expressed and the way it can be expressed.
we should do a deep dive on that.
Yeah, but yeah, of course there's, it's like we always say it's a lot more complex than we
And we won't care to
than we
admit.
can express here.
But
But I think it's a positive thing what's happening with Twitter right now. And I think it's going to be a lot of noise from, the opposition because there's a big political and cultural war going on right now, and you're always going to be people criticizing and saying, "Oh, he's just a bigot. He's an egomaniac." What I think is going to happen, like Elon Musk is the new Trump for the opposite, for the
makes
left.
no sense.
It
Makes
does.
absolutely no. At least
He's
I don't
being
see any
he's
sense in
being
that.
targeted as a racist or as a white supremacist. The same thing. You just look, just look.
I gotta look.
Yeah.
We have to find the Trump hater. If you're a Trump hater, let us know then in the comments down below.
Mm.
A Trump, Elon hater. Sorry.
And I'm not very fond of Donald Trump either myself. Never was.
Hmm.
I'm serious.
Is it? Are you though?
I just don't hate the guy.
Let's see.
I think, yeah, anyways.
So, I think it's going to be positive too, but
Yeah.
time will tell because people are afraid that there's going to be a monopoly on the information and there's only one person's going to filter, like Bezos bought the Washington Post, so no bad news ever
What's the
come.
difference? What's the difference between one like Elon Musk owning Twitter and
What's his the other name? The
what's
Murdoch,
the
Rupert
difference than
Murdoch,
before? How is Elon Musk owning Twitter is different from a small group of people owning Twitter.
because
You
you
know,
can say like, oh, he can censor whatever, but for me, what I would like to be point out to the like with actual not hypocritical opinions. Like this is one person who used to be who I follow, his Robert Wright, Reich.
I don't know.
He used to be basically he's a politician or used to be a
Hmm.
politician, and he talks about a lot of the economy, and he has like a lot of points of views about how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and I agree with a lot of the stuff, but sometimes I feel like he's just pandering when it comes to these topics because I'm sure that he knows better when he makes these arguments, but he
Hmm.
makes them anyway, and I don't like that. Robert Reich, I think, and one of them is like, what was the one about? Oh yeah, he put like this. Oh, does this sound like a person who's defending free speech because Elon got into an altercation and banned the guy from following him because he didn't like what he had to say? And I think that's a false equivalence.
It is a fault.
And so
Total
that's why,
total
like, come
false
on,
equivalence.
man. Like, let's be criterious here when we're trying to make a point, sure, but use solid info, like back up your argument in a real way. I don't think that was a comparable example to have like a algorithm filter less information.
Yeah.
Like because freedom of speech is one thing that we didn't mention is it's different from freedom of consequence. Like you're all allowed to say legally anything you want or whatever falls under the scope of the law
Yeah.
to the government. You won't have prosecution from the government, but like private companies are private companies. Like if you get fired because the company doesn't align with the values and they were made aware of your values through a tweet or through like, is that okay?
Hmm.
Or should they just keep you just because they have to? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like I feel like you have to take one with the other. Freedom of consequence does not exist, and your social tribe may align with you or maybe feel at odds with you. And if they're not able to process all of that,
Hmm.
then there's a problem because they should be able to have nuance. But that's why we're here, hopefully
Yeah.
to make a
Yep.
difference. Um, but that's kind of like one of the most important things. And like, was Elon in the right or in the wrong? Is he a beacon of hope and purity? Like like we all expect this purity and like this perfectness or perfection from everybody who.
I don't see it that way, but I I see a little more balance on the scale right now.
But that's because you feel like the other every side of the scale requires, and that's why we were talking about these fringe topics, which are really where the scales should be measured against. You know, um, if without censoring, is it okay for like the neo Nazis to start posting Pepe memes or like what's the frog? I forget the name of the frog. Or should that count as whatever? But I guess we established like anything goes as long as it doesn't isn't against the law, in your opinion, right?
Um, like I said, I think bad ideas will be naturally rejected, especially bad ideas that are already known, like the Nazis. Like nobody that in their right state of mind, or nobody that has common sense, compassion, or is a normal human being is going to adhere to neo-Nazi ideas. You know what I'm saying? People that adhere to those ideas are people full of hate in their hearts, full of resentment, and they're sad. It's very sad, and I don't think that it's allowing those ideas to flow free. I don't think that's going to naturally create a neo-Nazi movement to start sprouting and flourishing in society again and gaining power. I think those are old ideas, dangerous ideas that are long, you know, left behind. And I don't think I think I mean you can turn that like it is in Brazil. It's illegal to um how do you say fazer apologia ao nazismo?
Oh, to yeah, apologize for Nazis, like make excuses for it, or just
No, no, fazer
condone
apologia is to
condone
it's like you say something that kind of uh, um
agrees with it, like it's in
agrees with it.
line with
Exactly.
it, the
Anything that,
thing.
yeah, agrees
Yeah,
with
you
it, or
can't
the
condone. I think that's the word that I always
yeah,
get messed up.
exactly.
Condone
You
instead
cannot
of condemn.
condone.
You cannot
In
condone.
Brazil, it's a crime to condone ideas like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Is that bad?
you can make that illegal. That's not going to stop people from having bad thoughts or evil thoughts in their minds. Or it's like the black market that
It's
we
a
were
black
talking
market
of.
of
It might
ideas.
not be mainstream, but you're not going to stop people from doing harmful things to other people. You're not going to stop people from doing bad things, from being evil, from you know so. And also, allowing those ideas to circulate freely will also help society as a whole to identify the bad actors and to say, okay, these guys here are no good. We got to stay away from them. Um, if you don't allow them to circulate freely, sometimes they're gonna just be lurking in the back, and you know, it's harder to identify. So it could be a positive thing to let them circulate freely. So we're gonna be able to identify.
So you're against all the censorship of books that's
I
happening in
n-
Florida.
censorship of books.
Yeah, like the high school, they're saying like there's critical race theory in the books of math
Oh,
for
it's not
fourth
just
graders.
well. See, those are methods that are being injected into the educational system that have a certain ideological end to it.
Just like Nazism. Therefore, by definition.
Well, it's I think what it does, it teaches more racism. It teaches more hate. It teaches more. It doesn't teach anybody the differences between I think it's all bullshit. I think it's a way of controlling the minds and indoctrinating our kids. I think it's much more about that um, than anything else.
But like you said,
You know,
better ideas will always thrive. Therefore, you
yeah.
should not censor them.
Well, that's not censoring.
Well, if you're removing a
That's
publication, what do you call that?
that's eliminating. That's eliminating. Um,
Based on the content, therefore censoring.
I guess what I'm saying. What I'm saying, like, yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess, yeah.
to be consistent.
But that's well, I'm not being inconsistent.
No, I mean, say in general, to be consistent, if there's free flow of ideas, those
I
books should
don't
be
think
allowed.
that should be injected
Create
in the public in the public education. If they want to create a school
and teach those.
that and be open about it, I think that's fine.
So what should go into the school curriculum then?
History, math, geography,
What kind of history? How do you censor
no
history?
sex education for 5-year olds.
No.
That's the whole controversy with the groomers now, with the color hair people.
Color hair people. What?
The
I'm out of the
groomers, the
loop.
people that like that are in the spectrum, transgenderism, LGBTQ plus, like the whole controversy with the groomers, like the teachers that are trying to implement sex ed to really small children,
Mm.
and to teach, transgender, gender ideology and implement those into school curriculums. Like, what the hell is that?
So
Because it's inclusion, it's inclusive, and it that's the way they're gonna stop not criticism, but not right, how do you call it, discrimination. But that's
it's a
that's a
topic for
whole
another
other
day.
episode.
Yes. Well,
Yeah, create their own schools and see if the parents want to enroll their kids in a school that teaches trans ideology or LGBTQ content, then that's fine. But don't inject that into public education.
and is it in public education? What do you the things that
That type of content. That's the whole don't say gay bill that has nothing to do with saying the gay
so why is
word.
it named No Don't Say Gay? Is it to create
And then they did that at the Oscars, gay, 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 like everybody's saying gay, like as a form of protest against that.
so why is it
But
named
what
Don't Say
what
Gay
I
Bill?
think he's doing is just keeping those ideologies away from the public education system. That's
But
all he's
then
doing. That's it.
but like it's hard to
Because it taps into sexuality, it taps into sex, it taps into identity, gender, all those things that I don't think should be kids content.
sure, I guess. I'll have to read more on the
But
topic
I can
of
elaborate more in the next
yes,
episode.
let's do it. Let's do it. Or we'll talk about immigration. But yeah,
And that's
so
in no way saying anything against trans people or LGBTQ people.
but what is
That's
that saying about the flow of information? Because that's what this was about. Like, free flow of information, the bad ideas are gonna die, the good ideas are gonna stay.
well, if they don't allow prayers in public schools, then they shouldn't allow this sort of content. It's basically the same idea.
But this is what's it called? Uh, Secular content. Has nothing to do with religion.
What do you mean?
This has nothing to do with religion. Like
Well, but it
prayer.
has to do with a certain religious type doctrine, indoctrination. Like if you have to follow
An
certain,
atheist religion.
I don't know. It's just there's a lot of problems with that, and we can
Mm.
elaborate that
Yeah, let's.
next time.
Sounds good.
Sounds
So
good, guys.
yeah, well, thanks for watching until the end. My name is Luis,
If you had the patience to. My name is Arthur.
and this has been Woke Wars.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.
If we don't get canceled.